Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 17. And my predictions from last episode 100% came true. It was pretty much a heavy Todoroki family episode. So we start off with Endeavor going to the Himaru family, and basically they agreed to sell. Basically, the father agrees to essentially sell his daughter because they want his status. At this point, he is already the number 2 hero behind All Might, even though he is fairly young in this, and he wants to try to basically create something that can surpass All Might because he has come to the realization that he will never actually be able to surpass All Might. So how is he going to do that? With what is called a quirk marriage. Basically, you get two extremely powerful quirks, you marry, you try to have kids in order to combine those quirks into one superior quirk, which ends up being Shoto, but they have to have, 4 times the charm in this particular case. So basically, saying that she was cold as ice, she didn't really want anything to do with this. The only reason she was doing anything for this was because the family essentially needed the money. They were on hard times for whatever reason. They needed the money, and the father, basically her father agreed to this without any hesitation. She just kind of went along with it. It looks like he did try to consult her a little bit, try to get a little bit of her interest. And then we kind of get to the point where she's like, we're all suffering. Basically the whole family is suffering because of this. We all have some blame, and there's really nothing. We kind of all have to work together to deal with Dabi, and I don't know if they're going to kill Dabi or just put him away in jail. We don't really know. I don't like calling him Toya because he's not really Toya anymore. It's kind of like the Darth Vader Anakin reference. He's no longer Anakin. He is now fully consumed by Darth Vader, and that's essentially what it is. Dabi even ends up, I think, crying tears of blood here at one point, just because he doesn't have tear ducts anymore. So I guess the only thing he can cry is blood, essentially. They all come to kind of to Endeavor. They're all kind of taking part in the blame. We learn that while Toya has a more powerful fire quirk than Endeavor, his body is actually more similar to his mother's. So he's actually weak to flames, which is like a double-edged sword. And we're talking about gene manipulation, things along those lines, being that, they can't, and doctors are like, yeah, we can't really do that. If they came across the evil doctor, maybe they might have been able to do that. But in this particular case, they wouldn't do it. Basically, they were like, you need to stop him from using his quirk because it's literally killing him. Every time he uses his quirk, he causes severe damage to himself, and eventually it's going to cause permanent damage, which is, why Dabi has all of those crazy scars on his body going on. Then we have, him talking to his younger sister, saying, I want to do training. You don't know anything. He completely disrespects his sister and mother. Because honestly, I feel like, Endeavor does the same thing. He completely disrespects his wife. The only reason they were married in the first place is to have this powerful, quirk of a child that is able to surpass All Might. That was the entire point of the marriage. And then this is drilled into Toya's mind over and over and over again, that he'll be able to, surpass him. And then Endeavor, after a while, comes to the realization that it's not going to happen. Toya is not going to be able to surpass All Might because his quirk hurts him too much, and because of this, he wants him to essentially take a different path. He needs to get it out of his mind that he's going to become this powerful hero, when in reality, he is just going to be kind of like your average, everyday Joe, with probably a job and whatever else. And because they drilled this into him so much, there's really nothing that they can do to get him out of this mindset. So he constantly goes off, practices training because he's trying to be actually seen again by his father. His father at this point, essentially, Endeavor is kind of like, all right, well, there's nothing we can do with him. We just got to keep trying and having more kids, and we're essentially just going to ignore him.
And well, he is gonna ignore him. And basically, he said, he put the entire weight on his wife. He was like, this one is your responsibility. Basically, you need to do it. And you just see like him like crying with this evil, basically kind of like, what the heck, you're destroying everything. Uh, who I am, essentially, from birth, he was like, all right, he was drilled into him. I have to become a powerful hero. I have to pass my father. I have to be the best. And now they're essentially telling him, give up, get a new dream. And then you're talking about, go hang out with your friends, do things along those lines. And they're like, well, how can I do that when all of them want to be heroes? So, he built up his entire personality around being this powerful hero. And now they are essentially taking that away from him. So his very core, his very being, they are taking away from him what he has wanted his entire life. He then gets mad. He goes to attack Shoto at one point because he views him as he's the golden child, the perfect child. He's everything Endeavor ever wanted, and he wants to be noticed by Endeavor. And the only way he's going to do that is maybe if he gets rid of him. So he lashes out in anger at him. Obviously nothing really comes of it. Endeavor actually ends up hitting her at one point, and we have young Shoto, kind of yelling at him, trying to defend his mother. Um, Basically, he said, he's gotten a caretaker for this, which I'm assuming is this woman right here, is the caretaker, because at this point, Ray is just, I think it's Ray, is the mother. She is just like emotionally damaged by all of this. She realizes that, this wasn't the best situation. She didn't realize to a certain extent what a monster Endeavor was behind all of his ideas, and the length he would go to get what he wanted. So she sees the way she treats the children, and she realizes she's essentially powerless to do anything physically against him. And it gets to a point where she is just out of it. That's why she ends up in a mental institution. Is how that happens. We see Shoto just trying to go and play. We have Toya, basically, confessing all of these things to, I believe it's Natsui, if I'm saying his name correctly, one of his younger brothers, and he is just like, what, I've accepted where I'm. He's basically he knew from the beginning that he didn't have to be like a superhero and do all of this stuff. That he's really not going to be noticed by his father. So I mean, he kind of just accepted that at a young age. And he's basically telling Toya to get over it. Basically get over it. Just do what we're doing, have fun. Live your life, and he can't. Toya just cannot get over it. So, his mother even says, like basically trying to get him to get over. Everybody's trying to stop him from kind of becoming a hero, and he's not about it. He is not about it. So he hits puberty. At that point, his flames get even stronger. Um, Endeavor gets really angry that he is still using his quirk even though it's injuring him, because it's kind of one of those things where it's like, he wanted him to be a hero, now he can't be a hero, but he's still his son. He doesn't want to see his son injured to a certain extent, even though he's very injured mentally at this point already. There's nothing he can do about it. And he sees all these burns and he was like, what the heck? So he does, like, over, as I mentioned, he hits his wife. Toya tries to kind of defend him. Shoto, sorry, rather, tries to defend his mother, yelling at him. Basically, don't hurt mom, cut it out. And we see like this evil eye, which she then sees in her children. Basically, she sees the evil eyes of Endeavor in her children, which is why she ends up hurting Shoto. Why Shoto ends up getting that scar. And I mean, that's kind of how the whole situation plays out. We get the whole family backstory on them. So I mean, I thought this was a really good episode, really good backstory. And basically, they're telling Shoto at this point is telling him, like, I can't defeat Dabi right now at my current level. But I will. Basically, Shoto's like, I will do it. But at the same time, you still need to get up because there's still work to be done. we're talking about how the hero administration is basically completely gone, so they can't actually get heroes from other countries to come in and help because it's essentially all tied up in paperwork. So they really need Endeavor to get back on his feet and get going again. Hawk shows up. He's kind of doing all this talking on it. Um, but she's basically apologizing for her son doing it. We actually get to see Hawks' wings have regrown a little bit, but in this point, Hawks and Best Jeanist are essentially like, look, this is a situation with the heroes. All of us really need to be on point. And we need to do this. Even Hawk's trying to comfort him. It's not your fault just alone. Basically, it was a combination of factors of doing it. The one son that is the coldest, I would say, to Endeavor, basically saying he was like, yeah, I'm agreeing to do this. I'm agreeing to help you guys out because Dabi is essentially all of our faults, and we need to team up in order to stop him. I don't know if it's just they're single-handedly going after Dabi, if it's the kind of the Paranormal Liberation Front in general, but I know their main focus is 100% Dabi because Dabi has killed a lot of people. We then get a little bit at the end about Deku. Basically Hawks trying to put together what is One for All. They need to know about it more. Why is All Might talking to Deku? Endeavor kind of knows about it to a certain extent at this point too. And then we kind of learn that the reason Deku's been unconscious this entire time is because he is talking to all of these past users of One for All. And that's kind of what next episode is going to be based on the preview. It's going to be essentially Deku in his own mind talking to all of the past users of One for All, and maybe they're going to tell them their powers or something. Maybe he's going to get new powers. A large portion of Deku's body is still grayed out. I think that's just because he's not able to fully utilize his powers. So that's going to be a very interesting next episode too. I'm not sure if we're going to get anything with the Todoroki family next episode because it was literally the entire episode was this moment between the Todoroki family kind of becoming a unit again. Kind of ignoring everything that happened in the past to a certain extent, or putting it on hold until they take care of Dabi, which is kind of, I guess you could call it a noble cause to a certain extent. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Something along those lines, if you will. So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. We might get a little bit of that next episode. This one's getting a solid 9 out of 10. I pretty much loved it. We'll give it a 10 out of 10 because this is something that could definitely get a rewatch. A lot of things going on. It's kind of cool to watch all of these kind of side characters. I could to the protagonist. Like secondary characters, get this big major storyline that's happening within the story itself. So definitely a very interesting episode. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. Went by too fast. I was left me waiting for more, but we'll have to wait for next week. We're winding down though in the season. We got maybe 5-6 weeks left. I think we're getting 23, 24 episodes this season. Maybe 25. I'm not sure if it's 25 or 24, but another month and a half or so at the very least of this. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the future. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, comment down below what you want to see for future anime, cartoon related content. And as always, have a good one.